Good morning and welcome back to AM Live. Layla Muhammad here, co-hosting with Olive
Olive
Barros.
Barros.
And today we're talking about the Congo region, the troubles within the Congo, and we were talking about the history. Now we are looking into the peace processes that have gone on. Dr. Nzau, we've had military interventions by the United Nations. It began with MONUC in the late 70s, turned into MONUSCO, and under MONUSCO, the trouble was too much. They had to create a special forces group called the Force Intervention Brigade, and that's where really Kenya came fast into the Congo peace process, and we sent in the Quick Rapid Force. This is a team of serious members of the military. And then Kenyan troops also have undertaken peace efforts under the general MONUSCO agenda. Remember, MONUSCO is not only a military force, there is the civilian component and the police units, just like what we're seeing with AMISOM and ATMIS inside Somalia. And then there's the new kid on the block, ECRAF, the East African Community Regional Force. A Kenyan general, Major General Jeff Nyaga, is in charge of that force. However, we know that the region has several battalions inside the north and southern parts of Kivu province, inside the DRC. And we were just having a chat with Dr. Mashare before the break, and she was telling us that North and South Kivu is 7 times bigger than the size of Rwanda. Kenya can go into DRC, I think 2 or 3 times, 2.5. Looking at some of the positives that ECRAF has been able to achieve in the last few weeks. In December, they took over Kibumba. On January 6th, they took over Rumangabo, which is used to be a military installation for FDRC. However, it's been a mixed reactions among communities. Some of the members are saying M23 is blowing hot and cold because remember, just after Christmas, there was that war inside the Virunga National Park, and the concerns that now that they're leaving these areas, they are regrouping to other significant parts of the eastern DRC. Speaking about Rumangabo, how significant is it of an achievement for ECRAF forces to take over that bit?
Yes, a good, depiction of, of operational leadership on the part of Major General Jeff Nyaga, an officer I have trained, and very proud of, all through from his tasks in Somalia and so on, a fighter, but also not just to be out there to harm civilians, but really to protect civilians. And the bigger strategy is under the Africa Peace and Security Architecture, the East Africa Force in the Congo right now is part of that arrangement. The East Africa Standby Forces arrangement was such that a sub-region can easily form a rapid force and take it into a region to solve its problems. Africa has realized that it must take ownership of its problems. And that is what, especially problems of state formation, and that is why everyone has gone in there to help DRC to stabilize. Why? So that we can do business. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with extraction, so long as it is not a clandestine, under duress and other bad things that have been going on down there, up to mercenaries working down there. And some of them running some of those militias that you know those ones, Mai Mai, Mai Mai Yakutumba, a very bad one down there, Mai Mai Yakutumba, and they just harm children and women and such things in Goma. So all these issues, we have to look at them from a strategic perspective. Where is the region going? The region wants to disentangle itself from the problems of the past, from the baggage, the neocolonial baggage, the neocolonial interference, and big power politics and big power, isostatic readjustments playing out in that.
That's a big word. What's isostatic?
It's like you lose here, then you compensate yourself here, and it's a kind of a strategic game, and therefore, at the end of it, our leaders have come to the realization that so long as our people are fighting and they're divided, and a lot of historical ties being ignored, like what Dr. Macharia was saying here. Everyone is talking about people from other countries who are in DRC, but there are people who are just ethnic, ordinary people who speak Kinyarwanda, even Uganda and all these things, Kiganda and so on, who are in Eastern DRC. They were born there from time immemorial. I told you about the king who was ostracized by the Belgians from Rwanda, Urundi those years, and he went into DRC, King Musenga, and he became a king there until he died, because he found ethnic, you know, what you would call ethnic Tutsi there, and they recognized him. So what are we saying? We must be able to ensure that we continue to build a state of harmony between the historical and political attributes of statehood and the cultural and territorial attributes of nationhood on the other, so that our people can appreciate it, so that we build another Schengen area. Everyone wants to be like the way Europe is doing, EU. People just agreed. We have fought all these world wars here. We killed each other here. There was a Holocaust down here. But where did it take us? And so we can make our own Schengen zone here. We can make our own nice thing here, so that people can trade across Uganda, across Rwanda, across DRC, and so on. And for me, really, that is the issue. No matter how much we problematize the issues. Now, we have to balance the hard and soft power. There is the whole idea of military operations. They have to go together with political will and diplomatic tact, and very nice handling of statecraft. And that is why President William Ruto, in his wisdom, then said, Dr. Ruto said, Uhuru. And President Uhuru has this charm. And then these guys around there, they respect him and this kind of thing. And for that reason, as diplomats then talk, as President Uhuru engages these leaders in the region and so on, President Kagame, you know, all these other presidents, President of Angola, and all these countries, at the same time, General Nyaga and his colleagues from the region, because Kenya has 900 troops there. These others should bring up to about 1,800. So another additional brigades. So about 3 brigades. So we are heading towards a division down there. It's a good thing, but it's not just about. Remember, MONUSCO has 14,000 troops. 14,000 troops there, and it has been one of the biggest, except Liberia. Liberia had 180,000 over time, that mission in Liberia. But compared again over time, Congo, also DRC Congo. So the idea is to enable more communication, more trust, you build more trust, and commitment to the, to follow through the commitments that the various factions down there make. So the more you build trust, the more you are able to enable the people to move around, because in DRC Congo, so sad to say, there is not a person there who cannot tell you one time in their life they've not been a refugee or something. They are always on the move. And therefore we must be able to decipher those issues and make them work. It is not a competition. And that's what General Nyaga said. We don't want to go and shoot people down there. It's just to negotiate, talk well, and then in the fortunate situations where then force has to be met with force, it has to be well thought out and have the backing of the actors. Remember, DRC Congo belongs to the Congolese.
And that's what President Uhuru Kenyatta said in the Nairobi meeting in Safari Park, that even as the region gets into DRC,
that's right,
they have to want it for themselves.